Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. I have another 1v1 ranked game for you guys today. This is from a couple weeks ago. I was still Lieutenant Colonel playing against the Brigadier General Secret Player, and I'm not just hiding it from you, that is in fact his name, Secret Player there. And I'm playing Dutch German, which is a little unusual for me. I usually tend to go for land jets, really when I want that sort of thing. But I figured I'd give the Dutch units a try, particularly the Verkenning can be very powerful, the H-64 Escort is really amazing. And I'm quite a fan of the Recon AMX-13 FL-12. It's not everything you could ask for, but it certainly is quite good. So my whole plan is to go in for Bravo and then Delta Charlie. That's where I like to fight on this map. Light Hold and Foxtrot, not really thrilled with the composition here, but the best that I could think of at the time. And I figured, okay, well, if I can sort of springboard into Charlie, that's where I'll spend my time. And I did not expect this. There's a Leclerc, there's a Hap, there's a Tiger Had back here, and that's a lot of points. It's also sort of an issue I've been having with getting in here where my Suit Troopin or similar go a little bit too far up when I really want them back here, and as a result they get shot in the open. So I'm trying to work on that, I'm trying to get better positioning, and this really terrified me because look at this, there's a Tiger, and there's a Hap, and there's a Pak-2 Tiger right there, and I'm immediately buying anti-air on the ground, which even if he's not pursuing it, that does force out some buys. I don't really have much to hold here, just Huzaren, and there's a Leclerc, and I don't know, I mean, even if my Fliegerfaust 2 were here, then maybe we could have taken a shot or two, but they weren't. And so I'm seeing all this stuff and I think to myself, okay, well, if I take this slugfest and I'm trading poorly already in it, and I play his game, then I'm going to have a hard time. So what can I do instead? Well, I can go over to Charlie, escort, trying to get a VLRA here, and I think this might have been a CV until I saw the Veterancy. Veterancy 3 is not going to be that. And that is where I make another mistake. Escorts are not armored, they do take significant amounts of damage and suppression from small arms really pretty quickly, so even though I did a little bit of damage to those Commando Para there, it's not enough, and yeah, a little bit of just everything going wrong all at once. It is only, well, 23 minutes on the clock and we're already 5-ish minutes in, there's only 2 minutes of actual gameplay. It's about a 20-minute game here, and well, yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I have recently sort of turned a bit of a page where instead of being terrified of higher ranked players, I actually view the game as just a fun challenge, because if you lose, I mean, they're a higher rank than you, right? And that's sort of to be expected, but if you win, that can be so much fun. And even if you don't win, if you're in that grind and you can sort of make it a fight, I sort of walk away from that just thinking, next time maybe we'll get them, or maybe not next time, maybe the time after that, and you sit and you watch these replays, and you look at how they played, the things that they did better, the things that really caught you out, and you go from there. So if you are a fan of that sort of thing, if you like Wargame, if you don't terribly hate listening to my voice while watching Wargame replays, then please don't hesitate to leave a like, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. It really does help me out quite a bit. I need to be posting a bit more regularly, but it's been a week or two, man. Like apartment trouble, my car broke down, all sorts of stuff, so I'm happy to be giving you guys even the games that I am, because even though if I'm online a fair bit as well, it's one of those things where I like to be in this sort of happy, laid-back mood when I record, and as you guys can imagine, everything's on fire, metaphorically and sometimes literally. That can be a little bit tough. So things that we have going for us in this game, Delta is capped. There's not a lot of security here, particularly against a Patu Tiger and Hap combo, but I really didn't get the sense from Secret Player that he was the sort to do that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm looking to get some manpad teams up there, certainly, but it seemed more like a not immediate priority, because I mean, if I'm getting pushed in the 1 as well, which I did kind of like killing these Panzergren 90 here, even with Martyrs who support Suit Troopin. Don't underestimate these guys. Even with that, like, if I get pushed out of the 1, if I have nothing in Bravo, if I barely have a toehold in Charlie, and I'm spending my time consolidating, I'm gonna end up in a pit fight against a Brigadier General with, who has map control when I don't. And even though that +2 is giving me 30 points a minute right now, if I lose the 1s and I don't make myself a pain in his 2 and he has Bravo, it's like, okay, well that's a +2 for him, right? So Bravo and my +1, yeah, I mean, actually, oh, hold on, that's +3, I can count. Yeah, Charlie Delta cancel, 1, 2, 3. So that's 45 points a minute if I let him actually push me here, if I don't do anything. So a bit of an uncommon response from me. I don't tend to be a fan of the Leopard 2A1, but in a deck like this, I think it really is just necessary, and I'm following it up with a Verkenning. Probably should have gotten some infantry on the way here as well, but we'll see more as that goes along. And this did not surprise me. So oftentimes when, as red, you lose the middle, blue, because this town is so close here, will garrison it. They'll make playing around the two very hard, even for your reinforcing line, and then they'll just send infantry up and through, and you have to protect that in 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 different places. It can be really a pain to have to do. Now, I was hoping for a bit of a gun run, but, not quite successful when the KWS comes out, and at this point I was sitting there going, did I just throw this game trying to do something funny? And I did in fact lose a F-104G, so not really worth it to try and gun run some Legion 90, but I don't know, it's goofy stuff like that, that it makes the game fun, even when you're sort of not super thrilled with how things are going. So Verkenning, and I do have Natra, I have an AMX Pre, I have some reinforcements arriving just in the nick of time here, and that Leclerc, I was really hoping maybe I could get a side shot on him, but Legion 90 kill my Verkenning before I can make that a thing. I mean, if he came over here a little bit more, and I had been brave enough to peek my Verkenning out this way and could have maybe seen him, that might have been a rear armor shot. The thing is, the secret player is not going that way, and right now I don't see him, but that's sort of what I had in my hand is he's coming over here. Wait, why don't I see him? Ah, there he is. So he's playing high and tight with that Leclerc. He does not want to be offering me many shots, and we missed the one that's he does give, although, he missed as well. Yeah, jeez. Double miss off of both of these? Man, limp noodle contest. Huh. So I've bought another 104G because I wanted all 3 of these, and instead I just have 2. But I'm also going tiger hunting, which, while you maybe can't do that on Safari anymore, is definitely a sport in Wargame, and unfortunately I lost track of him. I think he landed. Yeah, very much landed. Because look, those are both on the ground firing up. Nice response there from Secret Player, just not having any of my F-104G Helo Hunter nonsense things going on. So I lose Verkenning, Rafal's out now. That will lock down my F-104Gs. They really just can't compete with that sort of thing. On the other hand, we did force out a 180 point buy. And if I'm not playing... English. If I'm not playing that much in the air, then it's not the worst thing. And this has bought me a little bit of time. So, the infantry push over here, the Martyr 2s over here, I'm happy to take those fights with Leopard 2A1s and things like that. And we at least stabilize a bit on this side. It doesn't handle the Leclerc, but we did kill a Legion 90. I have Stoottroopin here, and I believe in Stoottroopin, man. These guys are no slouch at all. Really, if I say that a dozen times, it's because of how much I like that unit. I only wish I liked Dutch German just a little bit better, because if I could take Stoottroopin all day, every day, I definitely would. So I still have 1 alive here, Verkenning 2A1. Didn't really want to push too far here. I'm just trying to get the recon tank forward just to see, because I kind of suspected, particularly with that Rafal buy, he didn't have a lot. But this is a bit of an issue. The Tiger is coming over, well, both Tigers are coming over, and I don't have a lot of AA. I do have the F-104Gs. Only one of them, the other one is damaged, so if I hadn't have been careless with them earlier, I could have used them responsively like this. We have 1 Tiger, 2 Tigers right here, F-104G lands the first, lands the second, and the Recon Tiger went down, which was really, really good for me, even though I did end up trading out the 104G. It's one of my first good trades I've had in this game, which is kind of saying something. But then it's going to blind that Tiger Hap, which I figured would give me a bit more time. Now, what I didn't count on was this. Look at this thing. I mean, Giat 30 versus Leopard 2A1. Optical failure, stabilization malfunctioning. I can no longer fire back with the MG3 off the top. The Verkenning's just sitting there getting smacked. Like, that was just brutal. That was brutal, man. I really didn't appreciate it at all. On the other hand, my Verkenning is going forward. I suspected he had capped up here because I really didn't see much else coming in. And I figured the Leopard might actually be able to get that. In the meantime, my 2A1, or not, yeah, the Verkenning might be able to get that. And I just barely saved the 2A1. And this is the first moment I'm thinking, okay, we've killed 2 expensive helicopters. We've discouraged a Leclerc. We've killed a couple of Legion 90. He's shooting at my fob. Well, shoot. But we did kill a CV. And with that, Charlie's decapped. It's now been about 10 minutes or so where I've had a consistent-ish take advantage. Well, not for the whole 10 minutes, clearly, but we're up 120 or so points to 0, which is quite a lot. That really is, particularly on this map where people often fight over a 1-point advantage at the end, or at least that's my experience if the 2 points aren't in play. And that did make me pretty happy. Block 15 OCU buy. This is his Leclerc. No, that's an AMX. Goodness gracious, I can't even tell those 2 apart. Yeah, so that was an AMX. We do get out the Rafal here, but I have a Gepard, I have all this sort of stuff. The Block 15 does have AMRAMs. I was hoping for a Rafal kill, and we don't quite get it, but we get a little bit lucky, and with the Gepard stunning that Rafal, it can't actually get the kill, and the Fliegerfaust 2 saved the day. So 180 point kill off the Fliegerfaust 2, and this is where the game really kicks into high gear for me, because despite all that bad trading, we kill that. We even kill that Peace Pheasant as well, which does tell me that he saw the command tank. This thing is not quite in the woods, which is a big problem. Don't do that. You should see that it's hidden. I had never really thought to check. So I'm negating the fact that I bought a command tank by not putting it in the woods, because that Peace Pheasant, yeah, would have sent this thing into the good game territory that every wargamer hates to be forced into. So 10RC there, who's out on this side, Stoot Troop in 2A1. A decent presence, and I figured, okay, let's just avoid the center. If I can fight in Charlie, if I can fight in Echo, great. However, the minimum requirement is that I secure my resupply and reinforcement line here, because if blue gets infantry on this side, I get real sad real quick. If I can't supply anything in Delta or Charlie, he doesn't win the game immediately, but he wins it after 10 minutes, after 15 minutes, after however long he needs to slowly grind me down while I can't even get there safe and sound. By the way, Deckensgruppe versus Fallschirmjäger, not an ideal situation, and I kind of got the sense after this that the Deckensgruppe need to be double stacked in order to really make that sort of approach work as well as I hope it to. And I have a couple multiplayer games where they really did amazing stuff, so we'll hopefully have a couple of those out as well. In the meantime, KWS buy. This is the first KWS that did get out okay. And I'm not really sure what he's going for until I realize he just wants this recon helo dead. This poor 45 point 4 strength recon helo has a whole KWS sent after him, and that's just, oh man, poor guy. And he lives because he was landed as well. So, well, okay, there are drawbacks to being on the ground next to a Leclerc. On the other hand, this is going decently well. I have Panzergren that are going over to kill his infantry there, Stoot Troop and pushing up. We're almost counter-pushing into Echo, not quite, almost, and we catch a recon tank going around the side, and this is where I start to think, with the second KWS, I almost want to trade in the air with him, because it seems like Secret Player really wants that air-dominant game, and if I can deny that to him, great. This is a mistake, however. I should have evac'd already, and I thought, well, what I was trying to do was I was trying to face toward the KWS, and then if I got even a little bit of a miss there off of his KWS, I could get out okay. Here's the Leclerc. And I don't know, this might have been a miss micro, but you can't do that with the Leclerc, man. And, you know, yeah, I think that's sort of self-explanatory. So we've had just not a lot of combat going on, but every single engagement was quick, it was punchy, it was decisive, it was expensive. It was very, very expensive. And the tide of this game flipped on a dime. It was really one of my favorite games I've played recently because of that. Now, not everything is hunky-dory. There are infantry here with the YPR. I'm just going to pull that back. I should have had more recon around that side. Now I have a little bit of space, though. And more to the point, I was really trying to push in here, clear out his Fallschirmjäger. I do have Martyr 2s for fire support, which will hopefully save me there. And if I could get up and forward into Echo, this is a pretty dominant board position. So Charlie decapped, Delta capped, those two denied, and even with Bravo, Secret Player can't match even the +2 tick just from Delta, let alone if I start capping other stuff. So we do call in an escort that's just going to look for more infantry. Hopefully we will have learned our lesson not to get way too close. And this is actually kind of funny. It's one of the drawbacks of the FL12s. They have paper armor. It's 3, it's enough, but yeah, the quasi-BMPT over here is just, I mean, goodness gracious. Down to 1, weapons jammed. The only saving grace is that it actually saved him from being spotted, so you know, things aren't over yet. There's a Peace Shrine coming in again, and I still was a bit of a doofus and didn't move my Leopard 1. But, I don't know, this was strictly a mistake. On the other hand, I really can't complain about the points feed, right? Like, we've gotten 2 Peace Shrines that just wanted to go right down the middle of the map for it, and I do kind of wonder at that. Whenever I'm doing something like this, you send the Peace Shrine like over here, then through. You could be intercepted if your opponent has an air superiority fighter circling, but you are harder to spot if he doesn't. Right down the pipe is a little risky. Or, I mean, with this board position, you'd almost think that he'd come in this way and then over. And that actually would have succeeded because I don't have any long-range punch over here. Maybe he expected that I did. but it's been a pretty contentious game. I really just didn't have the opportunity to get that long-range anti-air in that side. So 15 OCU is called out again, bit of a swing and a miss though, not really sure what happened with my targeting, but I was looking for that Martyr 2, nice response off of Secret Player, getting him safe and sound, and then we still do have a couple minutes left to play. We have 4.5 minutes left to play here, and it shouldn't be underestimated that Secret Player is very close to golf. And I only have 2 CVs on the board. If he kills the one here, my response has to be moving from Delta, which will actually negate the tick, give him +1 tick, and I think that's really what he's looking for, because if I have to retreat from Delta in order to get another CV, I mean, he owns that road, right? So I'm not reasonably going to get that. At least not anytime soon. So another thing to note is that this escort has gone looking for infantry now for a while. We saw them walking through this section of woods and never found them. And that's particularly nerve-wracking because they could well be Legion 90, they could be something with a lot of punch, and that's not anything I want. And he's very clearly trying to go for this golf push right now, and I agree with this. I think he either wins this push right now or loses the game, which is a little unfortunate. But having not seen that, I have Stoot Troopin right next to him, Nathra, we still have some things at the flanks there. I would have wanted more, except I was dealing with everything that was going on here, and in the meantime we've just moved forward to really lock down, as much as I could with the resources that I had, the Echo Foxtrot axis. So, man, that one Gepard. This is what damaged my OCU as well. It's actually really frustrating. Obstacle failure, I mean, this thing just, it's a crit machine, man. It is definitely a crit machine. 65% accuracy is no slouch at all. I was always kind of surprised this thing could, I mean, look, routing a Martyr 1. Oh man, 5 frontal armor, and it just does not care, not even a little. Goodness gracious sakes alive. Okay, so at this point I figure we have Deckensgruppe here, I have a Verkenning, let's get a little bit of recon, let's push this slowly back out and get control of the middle of the map, and as soon as I have my stuff back to about here in this building and these sections of hedgerows, then I think that's a good spot to be in. Maybe there could be better, but I'll take what I can get, and, you know, 22 minutes left, 23-ish minutes left, and we're taking 340 points out of +2. This is a game that you can start to feel good about, I think, for how the ending is going to go. Now, Deckensgruppe, probably relying on them a bit too heavy here. This, again, was a bit of a unit test game where I really just wanted to try how these things went, and we have another Leclerc. And it's at this point that I want to point out another flaw in my counter push. The Block 15 is a fine-ish answer sometimes, but sometimes you roll like this, where you don't quite get the kill. Leclerc has a lot of frontal armor at 21, OCU doesn't have that high AP missiles, and I really should have had an ATGM starting to move through here, especially once I'd cleared it out with the Panzergren. If I had got recon farther forward in here and ATGMs, that locks down this road, and Blue's only avenue to attack is in here where my Verkenning is having some fun. At this point, Panzergren, actually, I'm really kind of sad that I missed that. That was some Legion, and they didn't actually kill the Martyr 2 off the bat. We unloaded, took the fight, and got out. And, you know, back in the vehicles, back on our way, going to defend the 2-point there, and now we sort of are doing that push that I was talking about a couple of minutes ago, just getting further up into the woods. So, with that, I don't know, I mean, looking at this, there are certainly a couple changes that I would make, but all in all, I think this did decently well. The main problem for me, and this is a usual thing for me, is that my openers tend to not be very good, and then I sort of negotiate it back in the mid-game and late game, and that's really something that I want to work on, just having better thought out, more effective openers. So if you have any comments on that, things to do differently, priorities to think about a little bit differently, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm really, always looking to learn. Okay, as for other things, just a little bit of housekeeping. The unit comparison videos got stopped part of the way through. I had some files get corrupted there. Trying to restore them, but we might have to redo a couple of the later part of those videos. And then I'm going to try and get back to 1 episode a day for you guys as a bare minimum. Maybe even looking at some other games as well. I know a couple of things like the Victoria 3 had a little bit of interest, and then EU4 not so much. But unfortunately, I do enjoy playing EU4, so we might see a couple of things like that. Just as an additional note, I haven't done a live stream in a while. They don't tend to get that much interest. But if people are interested, my Friday nights are usually amenable to this, if not Saturday. So with that, 1065 losses, 1985 kills. Very happy with that game against Brigadier General, and the highlight units have to be things like the Leopard Verkenning, and the other Leopard Verkenning that killed this Iltis KDOW. This is a great unit. I can tend to throw them away a little bit, and if you feed these, it's not a good thing, but very much one of my favorite. Rollin' 3, always a good choice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.